Don't forget this. Don't forget this reason why Bitcoin exists. It exists because of a protection against government overreach, but also a protection against inflation. Now, if you're just in the US, right, you handle with US dollars, or you're in Europe, you handle with euros, then the hedge against inflation might become a bit more relevant recently, but for other people, it's already incredibly relevant now. Look at this price chart of Bitcoin. This is a price chart of Bitcoin which just hit an all-time high. Now, how is that possible, right? Bitcoin isn't at an all-time high if we measure this in US dollars or in euros. This is the Bitcoin price in Turkish lira. In other words, if you are suffering from a devaluation of the Turkish lira and instead you parked your money in Bitcoin, you'd now be in profits 100% of the time. It didn't matter when you bought, you'd now be in profit. Now, there's probably not too many Turkish people watching this. The main audience of this channel is from the US, from Canada, from Australia. But who can be certain that there won't be monetary devaluation in the US as well? There's a lot of hidden debt, liabilities in the medical system, liabilities in the social system, and debt to GDP is at all-time highs globally, actually. So the fraction of the tax revenue that's allocated to serving debt rises over time. It's harder and harder to serve the debt. More and more tax revenue goes to the few people that hold all those bonds. And with that, we are in an accelerating cycle, right? Where we have to print more and more money, where we potentially have to inflate the dollar more and more. So what we see over here might not necessarily be a unique point for Turkey or for weaker economies in general. This might be simply just a look into the future. At some point, the US dollar and the euro valuation chart of Bitcoin will hit new all-time highs as well. Bitcoin's inflation rate is at 1.74% per annum. Fiat printing is way faster than this, also in the US. One might even argue that Bitcoin's inflation rate is negative because there's actually more Bitcoin that's getting lost every year than those 1.74%. We can see this in the on-chain metrics, right? Imagine the following scenario. You bought Bitcoin 10 years ago, and let's just say you are a long-term holder. You want to hold Bitcoin over the long term. Still, if you bought it 10 years ago, probably at some point in time, you would have moved your Bitcoin maybe to a new hardware wallet. Maybe you're reshuffling your funds because you're dollar cost averaging into one wallet, then in another one. So you're probably not keeping your Bitcoin 10 years static in one wallet, even if you're a long-term holder. So the Bitcoin that hasn't moved for 10 years is very likely lost. And this is what we can infer from this chart as well. This is an ever increasing chart. This never drops. This is the percent of Bitcoin that hasn't moved in the last 10 years. And look how this went from 12.65% in 2022 to now 14.93%. And this is including the ever increasing inflation, right? This is the percent of Bitcoin that hasn't moved. And the number of Bitcoin, of course, increases over time because of that mining. So Bitcoin gets lost faster than it is being mined. Fiat definitely expands faster than it is being lost. That's why all the products go up in price over time. So what we see here with this all-time high of Bitcoin in the Turkish lira, it's simply just a glimpse into the future. It's just a matter of time. By holding Bitcoin, time is on our side. If you've got Telegram, feel free to join us. Simply search for Bitcoin Strategy Channel within the Telegram app. Looking forward to chatting with you. Bye-bye.